Once, in a quaint village nestled among rolling hills and whispering forests, lived a family known to all as the Hunts. The Hunts were a seemingly ordinary family, composed of Mark, the father, Elizabeth, the mother, and their two children, Emily and Jacob. Their life was one of simplicity and contentment, with each day unfolding in the warmth of their cozy cottage and the embrace of their tight-knit community. Mark Hunt was a carpenter, renowned for his skill and dedication. His hands, roughened by years of labor, created works of art that adorned many homes in the village. Elizabeth, a gentle and loving woman, tended to their home and children with a devotion that shone brightly in her every action. Emily, a bright-eyed girl of 16, harbored dreams of becoming a writer, filling her notebooks with stories inspired by the world around her. Jacob, at 12, was a curious and adventurous boy, always exploring the woods and fields near their home. One chilly autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, a sense of foreboding settled over the Hunts' cottage. It was a night that would mark the beginning of a series of events so tragic and inexplicable that the villagers would speak of it for generations. Mark had been working late in his workshop, crafting a beautiful rocking chair for the village mayor. Elizabeth had just finished tucking Jacob into bed, her heart swelling with love as she kissed his forehead. Emily sat by the window in her room, scribbling away in her journal, the cool breeze rustling the pages. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the evening's tranquility. Elizabeth's heart leaped into her throat as she rushed to Jacob's room, only to find his bed empty. Panic gripped her as she searched the house, calling his name with increasing desperation. Mark, hearing her cries, abandoned his work and sprinted to the cottage. Emily, too, was drawn from her writing by the commotion. They searched every corner of their home, but Jacob was nowhere to be found. The front door was ajar, swinging gently in the wind. Outside, the darkness seemed to close in around them, the forest's edge looming like a wall of shadows. The villagers rallied together, forming search parties to comb the woods and fields. Torches flickered in the night as they called Jacob's name, their voices echoing through the trees. Hours turned into days, and days into weeks, but there was no sign of the boy. The once vibrant Hunt household was now a place of sorrow and unanswered questions. As the first snowfall of winter blanketed the village, hope began to wane. Mark and Elizabeth were shadows of their former selves, their eyes hollow with grief. Emily, too, was profoundly affected, her once bright spirit dimmed by the loss of her brother. One evening, as the family sat in their dimly lit living room, a knock echoed through the silence. Mark opened the door to reveal a stranger, an old man with a weathered face and piercing blue eyes. He introduced himself as Gabriel, a traveler who had heard of their plight. "I may be able to help you find your son," Gabriel said, his voice grave and tinged with an air of mystery. "But the path we must take is fraught with danger and uncertainty." Desperation had driven the Hunts to the brink, and they were willing to grasp at any chance, no matter how slim. Gabriel led them into the forest, deeper than they had ever ventured before. He spoke of ancient legends and forgotten pathways, of places where the veil between worlds was thin. They journeyed for hours, the cold biting at their skin, until they reached a clearing bathed in the eerie light of the full moon. At its center stood a gnarled old tree, its twisted branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers. "This is the heart of the forest," Gabriel whispered. "Here lies the gateway to the other side." He began to chant in a language unknown to them, and the air around the tree shimmered and pulsed with energy. A portal opened before their eyes, a swirling vortex of light and shadow. "Beyond this portal lies the realm of the lost," Gabriel said. "If Jacob is there, you must find him and bring him back before the portal closes, or he will be lost forever." Mark, Elizabeth, and Emily stepped through the portal, their hearts pounding with fear and hope. On the other side, they found themselves in a strange, otherworldly landscape. The sky was a deep indigo, and the ground beneath their feet glowed faintly. Shadows flitted at the edge of their vision, and the air was thick with an otherworldly silence. They called Jacob's name, their voices barely more than whispers in this eerie place. Time seemed to stretch and warp, minutes feeling like hours. Just as despair threatened to overwhelm them, they heard a faint reply. Following the sound, they found Jacob sitting beneath a tree, his eyes wide with fear and confusion. Elizabeth ran to him, wrapping him in her arms, tears streaming down her face. "Mom, Dad," Emily Jacob's voice trembled. "I was so scared. I didn't know where I was." They hurried back to the portal, Gabriel's warnings echoing in their minds. As they approached, the vortex began to flicker and wane. With a final burst of effort, they leapt through, landing back in the clearing just as the portal closed behind them. The villagers rejoiced at Jacob's return, but the Hunts knew that their ordeal had left scars that would never fully heal. They had ventured into the unknown, faced unimaginable terror, and returned with their family intact, but forever changed. As time passed, the story of their journey into the realm of the lost became a legend, a tale of love, loss, and the unbreakable bonds of family. The Hunts remained in their cottage, cherishing each day with a newfound appreciation for the fragility of life and the strength of their love. And though the forest still whispered its secrets, the Hunts knew that they had faced its darkest heart and emerged together, their love a beacon of light in the shadowed depths.